Hey everybody, it's lunchtime, it's 12 o'clock, so you know what that means. It's time for another great episode of Lunchtime Talk with Steve. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna go ahead and run the intro and give you guys time to share with your friends, your relatives, and your favorite groups and everything. Let everybody know that Steve is on, and we are gonna be back in just a moment with Belinda Kendall, all right? So give me just a moment, and we'll be right back with you. All right, so we are back. All right, here we go. Um, hey Sharon, what's going on? All right, so today we have another guest with us here. We have Belinda Kendall, and Belinda actually has a talk show as well, and she does a whole lot of other things. This lady is phenomenal. All right, and I felt like she's going to bring some information that you guys really need to know, and you know how it is. All of my guests always drop some knowledge that you guys can benefit from. We all can benefit from. All right, so Belinda, how are you today? How's everything?
Good morning. How are you? I'm doing
I'm
good.
doing awesome. Awesomely awesome.
Still traveling, unfortunately, so I hope the background noise doesn't bother you.
No, no, not at all, not at all. Go ahead and introduce yourself to my viewers.
Okay, so my name is Belinda Kendall, and I'm the host of a talk show called Talk with Belinda. I used to have a radio show here in Charlotte, WGIV, that was called Kendall Connections with a K. And then I went into sales and management for like 10 or 15 years, executive management. And I started another talk show called Hot 77, a mix called Talk with Belinda. And then I just decided after a couple of people reached out to me to do another talk show. But what we're doing is creating a website. I'm doing interviews almost every day, thanks to the talent agencies that are in New York that sends me some awesome people to interview. So we're hoping that website is up and running by the end of August. It's something called a beta mode test. That's language I don't understand, Steve. I'm just like, okay, here's my check for this month.
All right. So tell me about some of the other things that you've been doing as well, because you have the women empowerment and different things that you're doing as well, right?
Yeah, so a lot of stuff that I'm doing is working with the community. I keep really a low key on that. So I work with the community a lot in helping families because I know firsthand how that feels. So I do a lot of stuff in the community, working with wanting to have my own TV station and another project. Again, that my lawyer Scott Forbes, every time he hears that I'm doing an interview, he gives me this good talking. So it's like you can't say this, you can't say that until this is done and that. So there's another bigger project, which is the reason that I'm traveling.
All right. So, how did you get started in radio? What made you get up one day and just say, I think I want to get on the radio. I want everybody to hear me.
I don't know. I think I had ran out of Xanax that day. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, I I have a God given gift to talk to people, and one day I just got up. My father used to do radio in my hometown of Waynesboro, North Carolina, and I said one day, I think I could do this, and it was very successful. I was very surprised. Dr. Frank Neely at WGIV gave me my first chance to do radio, and I would call on big name pastors, political figures, community leaders. They would all just come and said, "Okay, we'll do your show." And it was really mind blowing that I got such a great response. So I just give all credit to God on that.
I hear you. I hear you. Because when I first started to do this, to do my show, at first I'm like, who's going to really want to hear me? Or, and then people started
Hmm.
listening. And then
Yeah,
people started requesting about being on the show and everything. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, it's only God that can do that. Only God. Yeah.
only God. I get LinkedIn messages. My God, probably 25 a day with people that are
Yeah.
doing ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So I want to be able to give them that platform.
Definitely, definitely. And I've watched your show, on online, and actually that's how I got to meet you because you were doing one on LinkedIn, I believe, correct?
Say that one more time.
You were doing a show on LinkedIn, correct?
Yes,
Right, and
yes.
that's how I first saw you, and I was like, wow, I got to get this lady on my show. But so what else do you see? How do you see the platform changing from where it was, just a couple of years ago when you started? How do you, or when you first started in radio, how do you see the way that we're bringing information changing? Do you think that this is better, or do you think community radio is better?
I'm sorry, Steve. It's like the internet.
Oh, you're freezing a little bit. Can you hear me now? Your background noise, I think it is. Can you hear me? Oh, we lost her. Her connection dropped. Um, all right, but Belinda's gonna get back with us in just a moment. Her connection dropped. I think maybe I don't know. She's in the hotel because sometimes when you're in a hotel, you're not getting the best signal. So I don't know if that could be the case. Here we go. One second. Okay, we're back. All right, there you go. Now, are you connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi, Belinda? Hey, Belinda. I think she's I just sent her a message. Let's see what happens. In the meantime, let's go ahead. Are you there?
I'm here.
Are you connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi?
Yes, I am.
That's probably why, because they throttled the
Hmm.
connection. That's probably why.
Oh, isn't that special of them?
Yeah, just so that people don't stream like Netflix and everything, because
Oh,
I'm an IT guy, so a lot of times that's what they do. We both throttle it. So if you had a hotel, for example,
uh-huh.
and you had 20 people streaming their Netflix, and then a
Uh-huh.
couple others doing their gaming, it's going to bring down your system. It's going to be crazy. It's
Oh,
going to
okay.
slow it down. And
That
so
makes
that's why
sense
they
now.
do that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
But what I was asking is, how do you see things different than when you first started in radio? Do you think that the community radio, is better because you know the community, or do you think it's better to have this large platform and be able to go worldwide?
I think both of them have their space in our today's reality. Um, I do know the bigger cities radios. It's always an up and down with them, but when you deal with radio in small towns, that becomes their local communication. Someone asked me the other day, "Do you think the world has gotten worse?" And I don't think so. I think because of technology, we just see more. You have these people, the end time revelation. I said, a lot of this stuff has been going on, but thanks to technology, we just see it more.
Right. And well, I'm getting a little feedback.
Okay,
That's okay. No, don't worry. Don't worry. And you said because of the technology, we're just seeing more, which is a good thing.
right.
What do you feel about the way that things are? As far as the climate of the country, as they like to call it on the news. You know how they always have a little cute name for everything. So the climate of the country
I know, right?
right now, as if it's the weather or something. Oh, the climate. Okay, yeah, it's kind of muggy outside. No, but
Yeah.
so what's going on with what do you think about that? Because you're traveling and you're seeing it in different areas, whereas
Mhm.
I'm still here in Fort Lauderdale, but you're all over. What are you seeing in other areas? What do you think of not just the protests and things that are going on, but also the COVID-19 and the new normal? What's your take on everything?
So, where I'm at today, they're still protesting. I think the media is not covering it as much, just so it doesn't encourage more people. So, I think that's more of what's going on. And when it comes to the Black Life Movement, um, how can I say this so I can still run for dog catcher one day? Uh, it's almost like people that have a cold that are getting mad at people that have breast cancer month. The
Mm,
climate of the day. This is really a problem, but now you're mad because that's being focused on. I had one lady tell me, we got into somewhat of a debate. She said, Black life matters, but you guys are killing each other in your own community. And I said, yeah, but the difference is we pay for our crimes. They don't. That's why
mm,
we are pushing the way that we are. As far as Corona, I'm a devout Christian, Holy Ghost filled. I just plead the blood of Jesus every day. I'm very concerned that a lot of people are dying. That bothers me. I had close family members. I lost a niece 2 weeks after she was in hospital for 2 weeks. She was buried. The next day, her brother died. 3 days later, her mother died.
wow.
That
Sorry to
kind
hear
of
that.
thing, it brings it home. It makes it a reality. So
Mm.
this is just interesting, but I'm a government conspiracy type person. So I've seen a lot of movies that talked about it, but I also believe in Bigfoot and aliens. So take what I say with a grain of salt.
I agree with you because I mean, and I've seen a lot of those movies, and my thing is, we always wonder: does art imitate reality, or does reality follow art? Because I mean, they get it from somewhere,
They
you
do,
know.
and I've always said that I believe God and the devil have an agreement that we don't know about, and that agreement is the devil has to show his hand. And I remember as a child watching the Jetsons. And I'm like, how are you going to put food in a box and press a couple buttons and it's done? Until we came out with microwaves. So
Right.
I think if we stop watching TV for entertainment, but more for looking at what's happening, like Mission Impossible. I mean, who
Mm.
scans an iris? That was just unheard of. And see what happened later on? They scan iris.
Yeah.
They scan your iris.
Your fingerprints, all these different things that we saw before. I mean, even just look at Star Trek,
Yes.
and it used to be that that he would just tap the thing and just talk to Scotty. Hey, Scotty, beam me up. Now we
Yes.
just tap it in our ears, a little earbud. You know.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
the flip phone was the communicator. The flat screen TV was the on Star Trek. The whole wall was the TV. Now we
Yes.
have that. So it's like you're right. I mean, there's so much that we're seeing now that it's like wow, you know.
I
So
know.
tell me a little bit about what you do though, because you're traveling a lot. You said, I mean, if you don't mind, you know.
So, per Scott Forbes, I am trying to buy a business that will open the doors for me to have a lot of media access.
Mhm.
Per Scott Forbes, I have to come to these meetings. I've traveled to Mississippi, Texas, different places so that you can kind of get a better understanding of the business. So that's about all I can say because I'm telling you, he gave me a good talking. He gave me a good talking. He
So
gave me a good
it looks like we're gonna have to get you back on again after
yes,
everything is done, so that you can talk about those things. Because now you
yes,
have me curious. You
yes,
piqued my interest.
yes. He got me hemmed up.
All
He's
right,
got me hemmed.
so you were saying about being a devout Christian, and you hold a position in the church. You have a ministry, or no?
No, I don't hold a position in church. I don't have a ministry. My ministry is Belinda's ministry. If you're in need and I know someone, I'm the connector to get that done. So
Mm.
I have a lot of people that will reach out to me, even when I haven't figured my own self out, or even when I'm going through my own situation, to say, this is what I need. And people will call and say, well, Commissioner so and so said to call you, or this pastor said to call you. So I guess I'm a connector. Um, I meet people. I listen to everybody because I think everybody is like a book that's worth reading. And as long as some chapters are finished, though, I've met some, like, you call me when you finish that chapter in your life. But so I pretty much connect.
All
And I
right.
love doing that. I love it.
Okay, so now tell me a little bit more about your about the talk show. About you said that you're going to have your platform up and running in August, correct?
Yes.
So
So
tell
I,
me
I have
where are
a,
you right now in the process?
well, so basically I'm doing interviews now. And it is the funniest thing to juggle what I'm doing now. And then say I may have an interview at 3 o'clock. The next interview is at 5 o'clock. I have 1 hour to change clothes and make it look like a different day. So I have an I have an agency in New York that sends me actors, um, athletes, um, people that are doing some really awesome things. One of the guys I interviewed just the other day, Vince DePaul. What an awesome guy! He's played in the movie Hairspray, West Wing, Frasier, a lot of different movies. And he was here in North Carolina for a little while. We tried to interview before, and I think he's spotting out sites to do another movie. And he's an Emmy winner, award actor. And he was so nice. And he was like, when I come back to North Carolina, I'm like, yeah, come on over to my house. We're gonna cook. And he was naming all these Italian dishes. And he was like, so you're gonna cook soul food? And I'm like, yeah. As soon as I hung up the phone, I called this lady. I called mother. I'm like, listen, I need you to get over here and cook this food. So basically, what we're doing is taking the interviews, we're doing them on Zoom, and then we load them up to the website. So we'll put a teaser on my LinkedIn page, and my Facebook page, and my Twitter and Instagram page, and you can click on it and see the whole interview.
Mm, I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's a little bit different than the way I do mine. I like to do the just straight live on Facebook kind of thing, which is okay sometimes.
It is, and unless you're traveling and you get into all of this static. I didn't know the hotel did that with the internet. That makes a lot of sense.
Nisi was asking if you're here. We're here where? I think Nisi, where are you located? Because people are watching from all over the world. I get people from different places. So I think she's wondering if you're in North Carolina because you mentioned North Carolina. But you're
Yes,
traveling now. You're in Mississippi now, right?
yes, but I live in North
In
Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina is home to me. I don't care if I buy a house in Texas, Mississippi, Los Angeles, which I would have to be very rich. I looked at that real estate,
Oh
but
gosh.
North Carolina will always be home for me. I actually cried when we lost Cam Newton, but I'll still be a fan. So I'm
Oh,
in North
Nisi's in
Carolina.
Sunrise. Nisi's in Sunrise, Florida. No,
Sunrise, Florida. Okay.
yeah, she's not in Sunrise, Nisi. She is in in Mississippi right now, but lives in North Carolina.
Florida is a very interesting state. I was in Florida a week ago, and
Mhm.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, the equator has got to be across the street. I don't know how y'all take that heat. I'm like, this is crazy. I was there for a meeting and I was like, the equator's got to be one block up. Florida's an interesting state. It's so hot. I was
It
there
is.
for a whole week and I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot do this.
A couple of days ago, I think it was. I think maybe it might have been last week, like late, the later part of last week. With the heat index, we were like up to almost 110. I think we were at 109 with the humidity and the heat index and everything. It's like wow. And people are
Yeah.
outside. I mean, I always say, I mean, respect to my foreparents, my
Hmm.
everyone, but God put me here at this time when I'm for now for what I do because I
Hmm.
couldn't have been out in the fields in this heat. I'm just telling you now. I mean,
Yeah.
I just have to run away. I mean, they'll have to do like Kunta Kinte and just keep chopping until well, oh, there's no more of me left. I mean, I don't want to not to make fun of it, but honestly, I couldn't have been out there in this heat. And I'm from Barbados, so my
Oh,
people were
wow.
picking sugarcane.
It's
You know,
beautiful there.
thanks.
It's beautiful.
My people were cutting sugarcane and stuff like that, and that's hard. Not
Yeah.
that picking cotton isn't hard, because that's very hard too.
Yeah.
And anything is hard, especially if you're doing it for free and getting beat if you don't do it.
Exactly.
But but
Exactly.
honestly, the heat alone is like, and that's why I can't understand when I see people that are saying, "Oh well, well, it wasn't that bad," or what? What are you crazy?
I know, right? Right? Yeah.
I'm like, if I asked you to go wash my car for free in the heat, you'd get upset. And you're going to tell me that people who worked for 400 years and didn't get paid, and you tell me it's not that bad? Ah, come on. I mean, it's like, not only is it an insult to my ancestors, but it's a
Hmm.
slap in the face and spit in the face for me. To me,
Exactly. It's
um,
definitely causing bigger conversations. And
mm,
I think what I can say that I have seen mostly in this is that I'm seeing the real side of some people,
mm,
um, which is very interesting. You think you know somebody until a situation like this happens. And then you get to know people at a different level, I can say. So,
yeah.
this climate that we're in now is a lot of tension, it's a lot of emotions. I'm actually working on an interview now, and we're waiting for the city to vote if I can do the interview with the county attorney. Um, I've just learned a lot, and some things I wish I never knew, if that makes sense.
Oh,
About
I get it.
certain, yeah,
Mm,
some things I wish I never knew.
yeah. But there's some things that you learn, and then it's like it just weighs on you. It's like wow,
Yeah.
and then you realize why. I mean, yes, there's a lot of history that we need to know. We do need to know the history,
Hmm.
but and we need to know, like Nisi was saying, we need to know the good and the bad. But sometimes the bad is so bad that it's like wow.
Hmm.
Like I did the other day. I think it was might have been yesterday that I did the one on the Devil's Punch Bowl over in Mississippi, actually. So
I've heard
you
of it.
could, yeah, I don't know if it's like, and then to think that they just let 20,000 people just sit there and die
Hmm. Hmm.
without even trying to help or anything. It's like, wow. I
That's
mean,
that's when I say that mental illness is the biggest player in the game, and we still don't want to recognize it. Um,
mm,
that's like a. Do you imagine how numb you have to be to see your fellow man suffer like that and not even care? That's um, that's not normal. That's not normal. That's not normal at all.
Nisi was asking, what's your target audience and what type of interviews are you seeking?
People that are ordinary but doing extraordinary things. My audience ranges from 15-year-olds, especially when I have, people from the Mighty Oak actors on this movie that just came out. Um, they're like 15 to 75. So the audience range is really big. I usually do like a pre-interview. I usually don't turn people down unless it's, hate motivated or there's a hidden agenda. Um, but I want to give you that platform to tell your story. I never forget my father telling me one time, he said, always remember the greatest stories are never written, they're always told. So a
Mm.
lot of stuff that is worth knowing, you can't find a book on it. But I remember as a little girl, I would go sit with my Aunt Lena. I think Aunt Lena was 106 when she died. And
Wow.
the kids were out playing, and I just wanted to sit on the step and talk to her. And the wisdom and the knowledge I learned from her, Harvard couldn't even begin to write it, Princeton couldn't even begin to teach it. But it's just having those conversations. So that's why I open up my platform to so many people and say, "Come on, I want you to tell your story."
And it's funny that you said that because, and I'm sure you know who Candace Owens is. Um,
Yes,
and
praise the
actually,
Lord, brother.
I sent her a message to ask her to be on the show because I would love to have a conversation with her. Just
Hmm.
to, she never replied, of course, because I'm pretty sure you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm like, wow. I mean, so yeah, me, I'm the same way. I would not refuse a person an interview. I don't care who the
Hmm.
person is. Actually, I like to hear opposing point of views, and I like to hear why people are thinking that way.
Hmm.
So, like with someone like Candace Owens, I would really want to know what's your train of thought. Where did this come from? And I really would like to ask all these questions to her directly instead of just hearing sound bites and just little clips but so if you ever get her on your show, tell her that she needs to come over and get on Steve's show as well.
I will. Another. You can tell I was a daddy's girl, and it was something my daddy and my aunt Lena, which was his aunt, so she was like a great aunt, always told me. He said, "Never judge anybody that believes different from you, because when you do that, you close your mind. So it's always good, whatever their viewpoints are, or however they think, don't discount them for what they believe. That's an opportunity for you to learn, and you'd be surprised how many people you may prejudge them, but once you
Mhm.
start talking to them, you understand why they think the way they think, and it makes you a better communicator. To be honest with you.
Nisi said they're working on a documentary on sex trafficking. That could be another interview right
Oh,
there for you.
I would love to talk about that. Just the other day, I was reading an article where they found a young girl in Texas hanging from the tree. And you think about Nia Simone's song "Strange Fruit." Um, I was the one that used to go running between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't do that anymore. Sometimes I wonder if a lot of these missing children are really just into sex. They got caught up in sex trafficking. So I would love to have a bigger conversation with her about that, to give her a platform to speak on that.
All right. What I do? Would it be okay if I pass your number on to her? Are you there, Belinda? Can you hear me? I think Belinda froze again. But she be back with us in just a second. I mean, I know how those hotel things work because I used to do those Wi-Fi's. There you are. You're back again now.
I'm back.
All right. I was asking, would it be okay for me to pass your number to Nisi?
Say that one more time, please.
Would it be okay for me to pass your telephone number to Nisi?
Yes. I was like, don't
Okay.
announce it publicly, but
No,
yes,
no,
and
no.
DC, yes, sure,
I'll
sure.
send it to DC after we're finished with the show.
Okay, okay.
And it's funny that you mentioned Nina Simone's song Strange Fruit, because I just watched a documentary on her life
Uh-huh,
just a couple nights ago.
uh-huh,
And wow, I didn't realize the things that were going on behind the scenes, the
uh-huh,
bipolar and just the things of her husband Andy, the way that he treated her. It was like wow. The documentary was by her daughter. I can't remember her daughter's name now. Um, but wow. I mean, and we've always heard her music, and we listened to her music, and I love Nina Simone's music. But
right.
just watching the documentary and seeing the stories behind it, it gave me a whole nother just more appreciation for the music because it came from somewhere. It wasn't just something that someone wrote and she sang it.
Right.
Almost everything came from her life.
But you notice that the devil only attacks the ones with the greatest vision.
Mm,
And when I have people that will come and confide with me, you know, Belinda, I was molested, or Belinda, this is what I went through, and that, for some reason, all that goes out of one ear. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, who in the world are you that the devil will spend that much time trying to destroy you? You've got to be
mm,
a threat to the kingdom. So, people that have been through a lot and it doesn't make sense, those are people that I'm always interested in talking to, because they usually have an untapped gift, a certain type of anointing that is unexplainable.
mm. Because there's normally a reason why. Number one, why you went through that, and then there's a reason why you're still here to be able to tell your story. And
Exactly.
I, just like you, when I was younger, I remember back in Barbados, I would always talk to older people and just get that wisdom and that knowledge from them. But
Hmm.
then when we moved to the United States, we moved to Brooklyn. I was 8 years old, and there was a lady that lived next door to us, an old white lady. Her name was Jenny. And,
Hmm.
um, and she, at this time, the block was predominantly black. We were
Wow.
mostly West Indians, and she was still there. She and her sister, and and I would sit and talk to Jenny, and she would tell me about the changes that she saw just on the block, and the changes that she saw in her life, the things from her point of view.
Hmm.
And it was so interesting. It's like, wow. And meanwhile, everyone's riding the bicycles up and down, and it's like,
Yeah.
students refuse to ride the bicycle. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
That's when you knew that she was going to be a talk show host, because you wanted to interview her. What she was
Mhm.
talking about was more powerful. I was talking to someone the other day, and they was like, how do you keep the faith in this season? And I remember having the great honor of interviewing Apostle Dr. Frederick K.C. Price. And when I asked him that question, he said, you don't have a choice. You've got to keep the faith. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are struggling with, is having the faith in this season, especially since we can't go to church. Um, right now, we're having to get to know God without the filters. And when I say without the filters, I'm saying without the choir, without the missionary, without the motherboard, without all these people in place. We are left to ourselves now to really, truly study the Word of God. Um, I think one of the things that's going to come out of that, it also gives people a chance to reflect. And, you know, this is what God always wanted, for us to get to know Him for ourselves. He said, prove yourself, you know. So my faith has increased a lot,
Mhm.
because now it's God without the filters. I have
Exactly.
to, yeah, I have to get to know Him for myself. And it's always
You get
funny
to
when I
have that
walk.
conversation with him, and and not only do you get to have the conversation with him, and you get to talk to him, but you get to listen and let him talk to you.
Exactly.
And that's the best part.
And I see it in my children. I can walk in my son's room, and he's a big fan of Michael Todd, Pastor Michael Todd. And he's constantly, looking at the YouTube videos, trying to get a better understanding. My daughter has another pastor that she constantly listens to, and she studied dreams. So, when the Bible talks about the fruit of your labor, it's a awesome thing to live a life where you can live long enough to see your children have that same thirst that you have
Mhm.
to get to know God. Um, I think in today's world, there's a lot of bitterness, there's a lot of emotions, but we have got to center ourselves. We got to get back. We got to center ourselves to understand what's going on today and not be distracted by everything else. I have a rabbi that I talk to sometimes, and he was saying, just look at everything as like a carnival act, but you got to stay focused. So I think this is a training for us to stay focused on God and His Word, no matter what our natural eyes see.
So where do you see this? Where do you see the new normal going? Because we keep hearing that new normal. where do you see that going? Do you think it's gonna ever go back to where it was, where we didn't need that mask and everything, or is this gonna become that normal? Where our kids and our grandkids are gonna be like, really, there was a time you didn't need a mask?
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever go back to the normal. I really don't. I saw a post the other day and it was funny. So I get up every morning to see what chapter in Revelation is going to play out today. I, I don't think we're ever going to go back to the normal. I think that this
Mhm.
is going to be a great change for us. I think that we're going to see things differently. And there's no telling how long we're going to wear the mask. I was talking to a city official 2 days ago, Friday, Saturday, um, and she was telling me everything's going to shut down to 2020. So now, there may not be football games. There's no more distractions. One of the questions I ask every time I interview someone is, how
Mhm.
has the quarantine changed you? Because
Mhm.
now you're living without the distractions. You're left to yourself. And you'll be surprised how much you learn about yourself when you don't have the distractions.
Definitely.
So I don't think it'll ever be the same again.
Yeah, because like I sit and I talk to my daughter. My daughter is 18 years old, and when I tell her about there was a time that people smoked in a restaurant, she thinks I'm crazy. There was a
Yeah, she's
time
like,
people smoked
really?
on an airplane. Yeah, there was a
Uh
time
huh.
people smoked on an airplane. What?
Hmm.
Why would you smoke on an
Hmm.
airplane? There was a time that you didn't need to take your shoes off and your belt and everything when you're going through
That's right.
airport security. And these are all things that when I tell her, she's like, "What?" She can't imagine those things. Just
She
like
can't believe it.
yeah, it's like even like schools. I remember when I went to school, like I said in Barbados, I went in New York, went to school down here, and even in down here in Florida, especially the schools were open schools. So we didn't
Right.
have a fence around the school. We didn't have gate around the school. We didn't have a single
Hmm.
point entry. We didn't have any of that stuff. I mean, you could just walk off campus if you wanted to and walk back on, and no one
Yeah,
thought twice about it. And now
you can't do that
for
now.
them, yeah, for them to see that, it's like wow, it's you know.
Everything is changing. And I think that as everything change, we need to kind of just go with the flow. But, know that God is with us. Know that God will not allow anything to happen to you, whatever rejection you go through, whatever trials you go through, you have to stay centered on God. You have to say, He loves me and He wants the best for me. No matter what I see, no matter what I hear, He wants the best for me. And that's the best thing that we can do in this season and in every season. You know, He wants the best for me.
So to answer the question that you normally would ask everyone else, how has your life changed during this pandemic and during this time? Are you there? Oh, looks like I lost her again. Looks like I lost her again. Are
Okay,
you
here we
there?
go. I was
Okay.
just sending you a message saying we lost each other.
No, I was saying, how has your life changed during this pandemic? To ask the same question that you would typically ask people, how has yours changed?
Um, Without the distractions, can't go anywhere. You can't go out to dinner or anything like that. I
Hmm.
started revisiting a lot of conversations. I started revisiting a lot of things in my life that has happened. And sometimes when you're going, you're going, you're going, you're going, you don't take time to think about it. So it's caused me to revisit a lot of conversation, a lot of things that was said to me. Sometimes you don't know what an insult it was until later on. Um, I've become very strong in this season. Um, and it's okay to be by myself. I enjoy being by myself. Now, me and my kids are kind of weird. We could be in the same house for 5 hours and not say one word to each other because we zoom in on the book we're reading or, whatever we're learning on. But I've had a chance to really revisit some things and make some major decisions. Um, When I was on Kim Jacobs' show, we was talking about the secret to success is forgiveness. And I had a young lady to email me, and she said, "Does it mean you still have to be around the person?" And I told her, I said, "No, it doesn't. Only God can do that." But it just made you to start, okay, let me study this part a little bit more. Let me dig some more research. I think people have become very, very educated in this season. My father used to, the whole thing with the toilet paper, and I'm still sitting there going, okay, all right, diarrhea wasn't a side effect of corona, but they told us that, and my daddy used to always say, a crowd doesn't have a mind, but a person is smart. So when you pull the person away from the crowd and have a direct conversation, you'll be surprised how smart they
Mhm.
are. But when you're in the crowd, you go along with the crowd. I mean, it's like being at a football game. Everybody wave, everybody waves. Why? I don't know. Everybody else was doing it. So, you know, pulling away and looking at things with your own intelligence that God has given you changes a lot of it. So in this season, I stay up a lot. That's why I put on glasses because I have bags. But I stay up like sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because everything is quiet, and it makes a difference. It really does.
All right, yeah, I feel you because honestly, it's like I don't know. First off with the toilet paper thing, I'm still trying to figure out what that was all about. And the only reason that I went out and bought toilet paper is because everybody else was buying it up, and then I didn't want to be without any.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
but I'm always like, I wonder if the Scott's paper towel or toilet paper company or one of them was behind that. Like, hey, let's go ahead and do that.
If
And then
they're
the people,
behind it, Amazon's behind it too, because that was the only way you get stuff. I
yeah,
remember reading an article 2017. I think you can find it in USA Today or Wall
mhm,
Street Journal. One of those papers I read, and it said within 5 years there will be no more malls. So here we are 3 years from now, and they're starting to close malls.
that's true.
Hmm.
Huh. And you're right. I mean, honestly though, there's a lot of stuff that we take for granted, and we don't realize how much we are being shaped and molded
Right.
by an industry. Like, I remember reading a while back. This was years ago, where they were saying it takes about 10 years to from concept to market the what do you call it, a cell phone, one of
Hmm.
these.
Hmm.
So that means 10 years ago, someone sat there and thought about what I'm going to need on this phone. And the
That's
only
right.
way that they could do that is if they funnel us to what we're going to need on our phone.
Exactly.
So
You
like
know,
now, for example, we're looking at things like and we already watch a lot of TV and everything on there, but this is going to become the only TV.
mhm,
Eventually, this is going to become it.
that's true.
So someone right now is working on what we're going to be using 10 years from now.
Hmm. And they are
You know,
quarantined. But see, you can only do that when you are quarantined to yourself, no distractions. I mean, how many ideas have you came up with since you've been quarantined? I'll ask you that.
trust me, I come up with a lot. It's like
Right.
almost everything I look at, I come up with a way to change it, a way to improve
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, wow, if I do this or if I do that, there's so many different things that I've come up with. And if I keep thinking, if only I had the money to implement a lot of these things, because some of them
Right.
you have to really create a whole new mold of things like, for example, the baby stroller, which is something that I did when my daughter was younger. I took one of those little fans that you would get, and I think I got mine from an event that I went to,
Uh-huh.
and I took that, and then I took the clay, the Play-Doh clay, and I put
Hmm.
it in the cup holder, and
Hmm.
then I put the fan inside the clay. And then what I did, I took it out and I let it harden. So now anytime that we were taking her for a walk, I could
Hmm.
put it back inside the cup holder and just
See?
on the fan. And I'm like, I'm surprised no one thought about that. And I mean, I did that 15 years ago. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wow, well, why don't I do that?
Right.
Because it's really cool. And like you said, I mean, it's hot outside. And imagine just being able to drop that in your kid's cup holder and the mold, it fits perfect.
Uh-huh.
Turn it on. Even remember the headsets for the Walkman? um,
Yes.
I
Yes.
took the headsets and I took them apart, and then I just put the two speakers by the stroller, and then I had the Walkman right there, and the Walkman at that time was still old, so it was old, so I was able to just buy one really cheap, and then I just put it
See?
into the handle of the stroller and put a
Uh-huh.
tape in there, and now I'm playing it, and she can hear it.
Uh-huh.
So it was keeping her quiet, and she's enjoying that.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I play some classical music, or I might play different things like, different children's songs, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, that's the reinvention on the stroller. I mean, it's like,
Right. But the
so
thing
I
is
put,
that in this season, God has given all of us a lot of ideas, um,
mhm,
a lot of money making ideas, and it was almost like God pressed pause. So, you know, people are saying, "Wow, November and December and January is going to be a whole lot of babies born because everybody's been quarantined." But at the same time, we should birth babies. And when I say birth babies, I'm talking about we have no excuse. God has given us ideas, God has given us vision, and then gave us time to make it right, to develop it. So I think also in November and December, there are going to be a lot of other babies that are born, but they're going to be called business ideas. They're going to be
mhm.
called visions that we've had because he's like, okay, you're so busy. So let me allow this to happen for many reasons. Now you have time to work on it. Now you have time to decide who needs to be in your life and who doesn't need to be in your life. Now I want you to revisit what this person said. What were their motives? Have they grown? You got to grow up. Um, I always say one of the secrets of success is forgiving. And you have to forgive people. You have to. So you can receive from God. But now when you get to that point, do you forgive? A lot of people will struggle with, they'll struggle with, do I have to be around that person? So, what I have learned, I have friends and families that have really hurt me, and I've forgiven them, but I can tell you right now, I don't go around them. So, I don't think people should torture themselves to be around people uh, that have hurt them. And
So
I'm saying that to say, because someone is texting me saying, can we talk on forgiveness more? I have people that I love and I care about, and I have forgiven them. But if I never see them again, never hear their voice, I still love and respect them, and that's fine.
so let me ask you, how, and let's touch on that a little bit. How would a person go about um, dropping
I'm
a
having to
person that's
move.
been in your life?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you have to move.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Oh, we lost you. She'll come back on in just a moment. We lost her for a second. Nisi was like, yes, for all the yellow brain, creative and innovative. And that's the thing. We get ideas all the time. People work on these ideas. I mean, seriously. Right now, I'm doing a lot. I have a full plate, so I really can't work on a lot of these ideas that I'm talking about. But a lot of you guys out there, you can work on these ideas. Oh, that telephone number you see right, oh, where is it? Right down there. That's Kervin, the guy that detailed my car. Telling you this guy's awesome. If you guys need to get your car washed, detailed, whatever, give Kervin a call. All right. A young guy just started his business about a year and a half ago. He's doing an awesome job. So if you guys need to get your car detailed, reach out to Kervin. All right, but let me go ahead and bring Belinda back in. Hey, Belinda, your mic is muted.
Sorry
There we
about
go.
that. My
No, no
battery
problem.
was going low on my laptop. I was like, you got a couple of minutes. No, I didn't have a couple of minutes. But,
um,
but
so, so let me ask you. So, how does a person drop a person that they have, been friends with for 10, 15 years, whatever, and it's like that was their best friend, but now they realize, wait a second, maybe that friend was not really a friend or whatever. How do you suggest them drop that friend? Because I mean, that's one of the hardest things. People look at the length of time they've been friends.
Right. So it's a process. It's like getting rid of a crazy girlfriend. Um, they're not going to go away right away, but you start processing and conditioning that person to be without you. Because if God is taking you to another level, you have to start the process of God saying, this person can't go with you. I remember listening to Tyler Perry, was totally awesome how he talks about how a rocket goes into the air. And he said, once it gets to a certain point, the landing gear falls off. So some of these people may have been like landing gears for you, but they cannot go where you're going.
Mm.
So you just can't call one day and say, hey, Betty Boo, don't call me no more. Goodbye. And it's a process because some friendships hold so much value, but at the
Mm.
same time, when we can see up the street, God can see up the street, around the corner, and over the hill. And if God is saying you need to push away from this person, you need to process away from them. Forgiveness is the key to success. But at the same time, you can forgive people. And I know this for myself. I have close family members that I have forgiven. I haven't laid eyes on them in 5 years. I haven't even heard their voice. But I love them. I respect them. I honor them. If there's anything I can do, I will do it. But at the same time, you don't have to be in their presence. That's where a lot of people get it messed up. They're like,
Mm.
well, if you forgive them, you can go around them. And then they're sitting there torn. You know what I mean? So forgiveness doesn't always mean you got to be back in their face again. Love them,
That's
respect them, honor them. If they need your help, help them. But don't hold a seed of forgiveness where you can't receive from God. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to get to heaven and see the businesses I wanted to buy, the houses, the things I wanted in life, and God pulls back this curtain and said, all this was yours. And I'm like, well, why didn't I get it? Because you didn't forgive. But everything
mm.
you asked for was here, if that makes
Wow.
sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Right. They become very small. Um, I think that we are so arrogant that if someone hurts us, we think we don't have to forgive them. But every morning, God taps us on our shoulder and He says, I renew my mercy towards you again. Renew it every day. He taps you on your shoulder no matter what you did yesterday. He said, you're ready to try it again. So now,
Mm.
who are you who don't have a heaven or hell to send anybody not to forgive that person? One girl just texted me and she said a friend of hers slandered her. Um, slander is hard because the devil, one of his names is called the great slanderer. That's why it hurts so much. But you still got to move on. You still got to move on.
Mm.
I mean, we're
Wow.
pregnant. We're
Yeah.
pregnant with ideas. So
Mm.
what used to taste good don't taste good anymore. I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter Claire, I could eat Taco Bell 25 times a day, no problem. But as soon as I got pregnant with Claire, I didn't want taco anymore. Um, if you think about pregnancy and you think about what used to make you enjoy a certain meal no longer does that. That's how it is when you're carrying a vision and a dream from God. What used to make you laugh, now all of a sudden it's not funny anymore. You desire something else. And it's all because you're birthing something new. So to have a better understanding of why you have changed, why you're not the same person, you're carrying a vision. And what worked
Mm.
at one time doesn't work anymore. What made you happy at one time doesn't make you happy
And you're right because I even see even like with this show that I'm doing, a lot of TV shows that I used to watch. I haven't watched them in so long because I'm
anymore.
researching things for the show, and I'm finding better ways of doing things. And even when and sometimes I'll just get on YouTube and just look at ways of doing different transitions and
Right.
all these different things. And meanwhile, then I sit down and I'm like, wait a second, I haven't watched whatever show in a long time, and
Hmm.
then I might binge watch it when I have some time just to clear my mind. But for the
Hmm.
most part, the majority of my time now is preoccupied with what I'm doing because, like you said,
Exactly.
now it's a different level, and and I want to take this to a different level.
Uh huh.
You know. one of these days I want to be like Belinda, you know?
No, you don't want to be like Belinda because you got to go through a whole lot to be like her. And I don't think you. Let me tell you, the graveyard is full of people that wanted to be like Belinda. I just kept my mind. But I remember before going into sales and management, I worked for the Fortune 500 companies, and I'm very proud. Carol's daughter, Lisa Price,
Mhm.
is totally awesome. I enjoyed going to New York and sitting in a group of people. A lot of people don't know that Will Smith and Jay Z all were part of Carol's daughter. Estee Lauder, where I, would fly all over the Southeast. All of those was wonderful, but I can remember before going into that world there was a shifting that took place in what I liked and what I didn't like. I've always wanted to be an FBI profiler, but before I got into upper executive sales and management, I noticed that I had a strong desire to watch Law and Order, Criminal Minds, uh, any show dealing, Law and Order SUV, Law and Order Criminal Intent. But what God was teaching me is to learn human behavior, to study more human behavior, which played a great part in me being in sales. So you can see how your desire or what you wanted to watch all of a sudden changes. Because before that, I was the biggest Seinfeld Frasier fan in the world. That's all I wanted to watch. But even now, where God has me, I don't even have cable. I have Hulu, I have Roku, but it allows me to pick and choose what I want to watch without the other noise. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can almost tell what you're going to birth by what you're drawn to.
Mm.
So, yeah, but you got to forgive. You got to forgive. I said it on Kim's show. You got to forgive. You got to make sure that you honor your children because that's a gift from God. Why should God give you anything else if you don't take care of the first gift He gave you?
True.
You always want to make sure you hold a pen when your story is being written. So people may say this or that, but you make sure you control the pen when your story is being written. And you always want to be such a positive impact in someone else's life that when they write their story, they have to include you, but on the positive side. You want to, I don't know how to say this, and that's funny, me running out of words, right? Um, always making a point to compliment at least 10 people I meet every day because you don't know where people are mentally.
That's true.
You don't know if it's nothing but, I like your tennis shoes. Somebody needs to hear that. Always be a person that pour in positive things into a person because they've already got a lot of negativity going on. They've already got a lot of doubt in themselves. And to have a personal stranger to take the time to compliment you on something, it could change their whole day.
That's true. Your show, the episodes that you're recording right now, are they on your website right now, or is this, or are you doing a collection to release later on?
We're building up the collection to release, and the website is going to be talkwithbelinda.com. So we're going
Mhm.
to build, I'm doing the interviews. It's like after this, I got to go change clothes and then go to a meeting and come back and do another interview with someone so it can go on the website. So we're hoping to have it done by August. What the website developer told me, he said everything has to be adjusted for like iPhone users and when they upgrade websites, they have to upgrade so that you can watch it on your phone. So I've got about 15, 16 interviews to go on the website, and I'll release them probably like twice a week so you can go back and look at
All right. All right. So it's 1 o'clock, so it's time for me to head back to work. You know how we do it. It's long
Yes,
lunchtime.
yes.
So what's the 1 minute wrap up that you would like to leave with our viewers?
So know that you're in this time, God pressed pause. And don't think that God doesn't love you enough that He pressed pause for many reasons. But it may have been pressed pause for you to get yourself together, for you to come up with your idea, for you to revisit conversations and things you've had so that you can be a better person when this comes out. You could be birthing an idea. So now you have no excuse. You cannot go to God and say, well, you gave me this idea and I didn't have time to work on it. There's no excuse. Um, no matter what situation you're in, don't think that God took the time to carefully and fearfully make you so this could be the last chapter in your book. There's always something bigger, there's always something greater. And be kind to people, be nice to people, speak positive to people, and always forgive. Always forgive.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I thank you very much for being on the show. We're gonna have you back again after you do some of the things that you have in motion right now because I
Right.
want to hear about them, and I'm pretty sure the viewers want to hear about them as well. So
Yes.
we definitely have to get you back so you can tell us about these things.
Sounds
You know,
good.
and I don't know if you know it. I'm pretty sure you hear it a lot, but you are an inspiration to a lot of people. You
It
know,
just blows me away. Just blows me. Like me? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you, Belinda, you're definitely an inspiration, and I just want to let you know that because you do inspire me to do a lot of what I do,
Oh
and
my
um, and
goodness.
and I do see you a lot on LinkedIn, and I'm like a lot of people. I would see what you're doing, but I don't necessarily comment all the time. So yeah, you are an inspiration.
That, you know what, that means more than money. That someone can attach my name to inspiration.
All
You have to
right.
get old to figure that out, but that's a powerful statement. And I am honored that you reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked me to do the interview. It's been an honor, and I hope this is a relationship we can build on. I'll come to Florida in the winter the next time. I'm not coming in the summer.
Well, the thing is, in Florida, we really don't have a winter. We have winter for like maybe a week or two.
You know, I was supposed to go to Miami next month, and I said, I see why people walk around with less than a yard of material on. It's hot. It's
Now you
hot.
know where it's hot too. I used to live in Texas. I used to live in Carrollton, Texas,
Uh,
and I tell you, but it gets hot over there. But their heat is a dry heat. It's almost
yes,
like putting up the oven. It's
yes,
just here we have the humidity. That's the worst part. You could take a shower and in 10 minutes you need another shower again. But
yes.
in Texas, you will burn without even knowing that you're burning because it's just that dry of a heat.
At
You
the
know.
certain parts of Texas I've been in, and I've experienced that. But see, you're talking to somebody that walks around in shorts and flip flops in December. So I'm already hot in nature. I've been like that since I was a child. So when I come to Texas and Florida, I just want to lay down. I just want to lay down. I don't see how y'all operate in that kind of heat, but it's okay.
It gets so hot that sometimes the air condition doesn't even really feel like it's working. It's working, but it just feels like it's not working, you know?
Wow. Well, Barbados like that? Is it?
Barbados, because it's not hilly, it gets the air that blows over from the ocean. So we keep about a constant 80, around 80 degrees. Sometimes you will get the humidity, sometimes you'll get the, a little bit of a hot sun, but for the most part, no. For the most part, because it's such a small island and it's not mountainous, you can get that breeze that just blow right across the island. So it keeps you kind of cool, you know.
Well, you go back to Barbados, and then I'll come there and see you because Florida's hot for me.
Yeah,
Like I said, I was there a couple of weeks ago for a whole week, and I'm just like, Lord, get me out of here.
well,
Deliver
what
me.
we do is after things get back to the normal, or when they settle on what the new normal is going to be, probably sometime next year, I would like to do some kind of a workshop in Barbados. So, hey, maybe I could get you to be on my panel or to
I would
do
love
something
to.
with me in that workshop.
I would be so honored. I would be so honored. Thank you
All
so
right,
much. Thank you. Thank
thank you,
you.
Belinda. I really appreciate you being on the show.
All right. Goodbye.
Everybody. All right, so folks, you got the information from Belinda. I tell you, everybody that comes on the show dropped like a little nugget of information. She didn't drop a nugget; she dropped like a chunk of information. All right, this lady has the knowledge. She has the connection. She just makes things happen, and that's what I really like about her. That's why I follow her on LinkedIn, and that's why I made sure I invite her on the show because I knew that you guys would be able to get some just get some foresight and some insight into some of the things that's going on and some of the things you should be doing. All right, well, it's time for me to wrap it up. But like Belinda was saying, be kind to each other. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger. That's one of my favorite things. And you are your brother's keeper. So definitely get out there and help each other. All right. Again, I keep seeing the food line stretching, and I see it's only people with cars that are out there. Well, there are a lot of people that don't have a car, and you know them. They may be a relative, a friend, a co-worker, whatever. Call them up. Hey, listen, you need some food. Let me get you a ride. Let me give you a ride over to the food line. Or if not, just pick up the food and bring it to them. Again, you are your brother's keeper. Let's make this happen, people. We can't keep talking about somebody else is going to do it. You are the someone that's going to do it, okay? All right, people. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And always, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger. Peace, people.